Hello and welcome to Cheche, the show where opinion counts, live on Citizen TV. I'm your host, Udwaka Mimo. Now, we've been hearing a lot about the judiciary in recent days, and that's because that arm of government is on the defensive, accusing another arm, the legislature, of sabotage and intimidation. It's an argument about the separation of powers, featuring words like idiotic. And the judiciary, which should be the arbiter, finds itself a player. Well, the head of the judiciary, Chief Justice Willy Mutunga, is the guest on Cheche today. Also with me in the Cheche studio, panelists Mutegi Njau of Royal Media Services and David Makali. Good morning and welcome back to Cheche. It's been a while since we had you on the show, and so we'll come to the separation of powers argument in a moment. But first, give us a sense, your assessment of how the past year has gone for the judiciary.
The past year?
Yes.
Yes, it's been great. The transformation is on course. There have been challenges.
Such as?
Some of those challenges are in court, so I'm not going to talk about them. But we are now into the second phase of the transformation. And we learned a lot of lessons in the process. Transforming this institution is not easy. It's a messy affair. But I think I see the successes and I see the failures, and I learn the lessons. And
what are your lessons learned? What are the lessons learned?
Well, that within the judiciary, the checks and balances haven't been right. There are certain offices that don't have the necessary capacity, like the office of the Chief Justice. Out of that crisis, I realized that I need a forensic financial auditor, just to advise me, because that's not my area. So, yeah, that's one of the many challenges.
On the vetting of judges,
yes,
which was one of the forms, many judges were vetted and removed, and then went back to court and were reinstated.
No judges were reinstated. I think the matters are still in court.
Okay.
But no reinstatement. What the Judicial Service Commission decided is that before the cases are heard, they were under suspension, and
which means you continue working, continues,
which means
paid.
You get half, half of your pay,
Okay. So let's come then to the issue of the separation of powers, because presumably that would be a low for you, is it?
A low how?
Do you welcome what we've seen in recent days?
Yeah, I think I've said that I get surprised when people talk about the crisis. When you introduce this topic, you use other words, all right. But there is no crisis. I would have been surprised if these problems didn't crop up. You have a new constitution. People are interpreting it. Mental shifts haven't taken place, and in the process, the constitution is flowering. That's how I see it. Senate interprets the constitution in a particular way. The National Assembly interprets it in a particular way. They come to the courts. The courts decide and basically say this is what the constitution says. This is going to happen. It's a new dispensation.
Okay. But your tone is quite different from the tone you took during your press conference on Sunday, when you used words like the judiciary will not be cowed, it will not be intimidated. You warned that the budget cuts in the supplementary budget were threatening the work that the judiciary does. Yes. So tell us a bit more about that, given that you seem to be,
to be what?
Your
backpedaling?
Yes.
No, not backpedaling.
You seem to be trying to be diplomatic here, not trying to escalate the tensions with the other arms of government?
No, there are no tension. I speak to those leaders all the time.
So why did you feel the need to give the press conference on Sunday, if you speak to these leaders all the time?
Well, I think there is, as I said, I was going to the court of public opinion.
Right.
It's always good to talk to the Kenyan people about these issues, especially when they are hearing a lot of stuff from other leaders. So it's always good to come out and say what the judiciary stands for. And you know, in my statement, I didn't warn anybody. I was just repeating what is in the Constitution. And I was actually addressing the Kenyan people. I wasn't even addressing the other arms of government. But the issue of separation of powers, briefly, it's about, and this is on the basis of the Constitution, it's about robust independence, you know, of the three arms, all right? But the Constitution calls for constructive interdependence, and that's where you get in the dialogue, you get in the consultations. But there's nothing wrong for any leader of one of the arms to put up a position, and that's part of the debate. I think it's a healthy debate. It's amusing in some ways, especially for a lawyer, when the interpretations are coming out. But as a judge, I'm used to 20 interpretations around a simple issue, and you listen. But you know, this is a simple issue, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. If you see that there's no crisis, as you say, do you feel that the judiciary is under attack?
The judiciary is not under attack.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, under the Constitution, the judiciary is accountable for the decisions that we make. And as long as people critique the decisions, that's fine. What I said was, it's unwarranted to criticize the judges themselves or the institution. Take, for example, the petition, the election petition. The criticism has gone on for a year now, and I'm sure it will go on until the next election. So, judges must realize that if they make decisions, those decisions are going to be criticized, and rightly so, because we are accountable for the decisions we make. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's a great expression of freedom of speech.
You said even idiotic